Hello, TheChudude here, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Rant. Today I'm joined by Baseballlover and TheChudude. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Okay, so last 2 weeks we've been talking about the Giro Italia, and as you know, there are 3 weeks in a Grand Tour, so of course this week is going to be themed around the Giro Italia. So, the stage you guys want to hear the most about is of course the Stelvio stage, stage 16. Stage 16 was set up to be this big exciting stage with the Cima copy being delivered because it's the highest altitude reached in the Giro Italia. But what happened in this stage was the weather was a big issue, and there was a possible neutralization. I can't even say. Can someone just stand in?
Neutralization.
Exactly. That on the Stelvio. But apparently, not everybody heard it. Or not every team chose to hear it. So, what Giro Italia did, they officially tweeted it, and they also said it on the race radio, which there is an audio file out there, which I can probably try and find and put in the description. But then, after a couple of minutes, they deleted the tweet and deleted the audio file. And Quintana attacked with Pierre Rolland, with Ryder Hesjedal. Was this correct? They gained 4 minutes on this stage. What do you think? Do you think the move that movie stars Quintana did was legitimate? Can you compare it to what Evans did in that other stage? Or do you think that he should be punished severely for this move? Baseball, you can start for this one.
No way. No way. And yeah, maybe I'm biased because Hesjedal was in the break, but I don't think so. I mean, I think that what a lot of the guys were saying is that they heard it was neutralized, that everybody stopped. But you hear Rafael Micah, for instance. Rafael Micah said, "Oh, everybody stopped at the top, and then they just kind of rode away past all the guards." That's there's no proof of that. In fact, you watch Rafael Micah go across, and he looks tired. And one guy just stops to take a leak, but everybody else just keeps going. And the reason that nobody stopped at the top because they heard it was neutralized. You saw Uran was suffering at the back because he was suffering at the back, and that's the difference. And it has to be very clear before you neutralize something. You know, it's the team's fault for just taking the neutralization as it is. Okay, unless you explicitly hear it and you have direct and definite moves that it's been neutralized, and everybody gets the same information, you do not just stop fighting. You're supposed to fight for the win until it's definitive, and they didn't do that. And so you saw that they get time from it, and I completely agree. You sleep, and that's what happens. And it also comes down to two things. You can't penalize them because one, they had 1 minute at the bottom, and then they gained 3. So you can't just take away what they got. Quintana was absolutely, destroying everyone on the climb, whether he was with them or not. And then you also have to take into account the fact that other teams had their domestiques in the chase. So even if they did get a gap, you got other teams that had neutralized the descent with, 2 or 3 guys relaying. They should be able to make that up, and if they can't, then that's their problem.
Okay, that's a very valid point. What do you think, TheChudude?
I disagree because I think the way it was, a lot of the riders actually thought it was neutralized. They had the guy in the front bloody waving a flag, like a red flag or something, yes. And that actually happened. And I'm sure every single rider, a lot of the riders from the peloton had their director say it was neutralized over the radio, because that's what was the case. They actually heard from the race radio. The race radio actually said that the race was going to be neutralized. So it was probably a confusing situation. I mean, riders did stop at the top of the climb to put jumpers and whatever, wind cheaters or what on. We saw that actually happen. And I think a lot of riders thought it was just going to be neutralized. And even when Quintana and his group went, I still think some riders had it in the back of their mind that, they're probably going to slow down and let us catch up to him because the race, you're not supposed to race, it's neutralized. It's like a yellow flag in the F1, if you know what I mean. Like, you're not allowed to overtake, something like that. But again, I just don't think the UCI is really clear with this. What are you saying, Failure?
How would you punish something like this?
Exactly.
That's a big question right now. I mean, what do you take his time off from when he got to the bottom of the climb from the top of Cima Copy? don't know. I don't think you can do that. Saying that if Quintana had to make a move, I mean, he was only making 20 seconds each day. That's never going to be enough to take Quintana. And he's just got a huge chunk of Quintana's time from that. I don't know. Even if he did take a minute off, if Quintana was with Iran, maybe Iran just will suck him up that climb, and that's what's difficult about cycling, because you can never sort of give a made up time, because that never works really. Like, even when they gave Andy Schleck that victory, I was kind of like, in the Tour de France, because the race is raced by who the leader is, and when you make up like times for riders, it doesn't work. So I think they gotta leave it standing, and you'll see heaps of protests from riders from like right now, really,
we did
literally.
Hear that, because Robert Keselowski came out and said that the Stelvio 6, which referring to Ryder Heschel, Pierre Alain, Bjorn Toro, Quintana, and Sausti, and another rider I just lost the name of, should lose 20 minutes and are not considered real champion in his mind. So, also Rafael Micah came out saying that he had no clue what was going on.
Okay.
At the top of the Stelvio, he believed it was neutralized, but what are you saying?
Look at the teams that complained. The teams that complained are the guys that lost out. Not just people that might have missed it, but aren't GC contenders. The people that complain, the people that say that there was a neutralization, are not just the neutral teams. It's not the neutral teams. It's all the guys who missed out. Rafael Micah, all of them, even Kieserlovsky, they should lose 20 minutes. Well, think about it. At the bottom of the descent, they had, 45 seconds a minute? You know, everyone had teammates. You go in the front and you chase them back. You race the race, okay? Sure, there might have been a neutralization, but so what? They get 5 seconds, then you realize something and you go. You take risks and you do what you have to do. And it bothers me that they're doing this and they're the ones that lost, because it sounds to me like they're pleoxing a little.
If you follow the World Cup, pleoxing is when you're crying over something or complaining. What are you saying, TheChudude?
But when you say some other neutral team has to make the decision, what other neutral teams is there out there? I mean, most of the riders from most of the team from that aren't in the GC are probably all dropped by the top of that climb.
Not the entire team, no way. There was like 40 guys in the group. And
I think Rafael Micah and Co they're right. They can be rightfully mad, I guess. I mean, they even wanted to bloody boycott this Giro, Saxo's team.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that doesn't boycott it then can move up.
Like, it's kind of I really think that they should have, something's got to be done, because it's really not a level playing field, because they actually stopped. A lot of those riders stopped to get jackets and stuff because they heard over race radio that the race is going to be neutral.
Mikey was 10 minutes behind at the top of the Stelvio because he rode it so slow. Because they told that there was going to be a neutralization, so he decided to just ride it really, really slow and just take it easy, be warm and all of that. So he was 10 minutes behind when Quintana attacked the first time.
10 minutes?
Yes.
And also, you got to take into consideration how dangerous that was. That descent was like hairpin turns. It was like going down Alpe d'Huez. Imagine that with like icy roads. I was surprised it didn't get neutralized. Like on how dangerous that was. We could have easily seen more crashes easily on that downhill.
Well, we talked about people being angry, or at least sports directors. Pretty much all the sports directors, of course, except Movistar, agreed to take a talk with the organization and the UCI commissioners. And the company in charge of this was AIGCP, and it's a kind of a safety net for the organizations, or the race organization. So the statement was through that they met with the RCS, the organization, and with the UCI, and the UCI denies to have heard anything about a neutralization or anything, but they do agree on giving Movistar Sports Director a fine. Yet they don't hear anything about a neutralization. So, they also state, in order to have fair cycling, teams needs a regulator that applies the rules in a transparent, consistent, and fair way. This was absent in this case. But the movie star sports director got a 200 Swiss franc fine, which equals to 170 euros. And you get like 1,000 euros for being in the pink jersey, and you get 11,000 euros for winning a stage. So that's like a slap on the hand. It's nothing. But what do you think about this statement? Like, the UCI commissioners say that they clearly don't hear anything regarding race neutralization, but they do agree on giving this guy a fine.
I think it's
That's
another
a UCI
thing that
problem. There's a lot of
it's
them.
a UC. Like, it's one of those problems. Well, I think these guys who are running the event they're just not confident with the decisions they're making. They're like, you think about some sports referee or something like that when they're just beginning. That's what I see the guys making the decisions at the Giro right now. Like, they're not confident with their decisions. They think it back and forward and back and forward. They do, like, they're in a passive mindset, and that's like, how can you give someone the fine where when you say there was no neutralization, they went away? Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm baffled by it, and like, what are they doing really? Get ready to see more protests and all those things. Get ready, I reckon.
How close do you
Yes.
reckon it would have been without the Stelvio stage? Because I hear people on Reddit complaining about, like, oh, if only the Stelvio stage wasn't there, it would be like a 10-second gap between Uran and Quintana and so on.
Would
Oh.
have been
What do you think, Baseball Lover?
close.
I mean, it's not, like I said, for the beginning of that climb, it was a 1-minute gap at the bottom, okay? Then it's unneutralized. I think everybody knew that it was unneutralized at the bottom. I don't think there was any confusion about that, even if you thought it was neutralized. There was only a 45-second gap to the pack. Uran had Wout Poels and Brambilla, and Quintana rode away. And Uran, who had teammates and was fresher, couldn't do it. So I don't think that that's true at all. I mean, you could say that he would have wheel sucked, but in the end, he just wasn't up to par.
Okay, so you said the same thing would have happened regardless of that stage.
Maybe you spot him 30 seconds, 40 seconds more. I mean, in favor of Uran, but I really don't think it would have been that different.
Yeah, the thing is, he doesn't need to be par with Quintana though. He just needs to limit his losses, and because he had what, sort of 3-minute lead on Quintana going in, so that's why it's very questionable right now. I think.
I mean, you say he could have wheel sucked Quintana a little bit more, but he couldn't even wheel suck Kelderman or Micah or those kind of guys. I don't think he could have wheel sucked Quintana.
I also think this will affect him later on, because as of now, I just got a message on Facebook. Sorry for that. That's when you're online on reading a statement through Facebook. That sucks. Okay, but I lost my train of thought. Okay, so Uran lost a lot of time, not only to Quintana, he also lost time to Pierre Rolland, and currently Pierre Rolland is fighting for a podium finish, and it's between him, Fabio Aru, and Uran. I'm taking a look at the moment. Yes, it is, and they're all pretty close. And if Uran cracks on the Mont Saint Colan, Pierre Rolland could take top 3, and which means that Uran is going to lose top 3 because of the Stelvio stage. So we could see a protest afterwards. Because also, one of the sports directors who were part of the official complaint was Pat Lefebvre, which is the sports director from Mega Pharma Quickstep. So
Duh.
this is not looking very good. But on to a brighter note, second place overall in the GC not second place. It's third place overall in the GC currently is Fabio Aru. Fabio Aru has been a real inspirational story so far this Giro d'Italia. His main captain, Michel Scarponi, had a terrible Giro d'Italia, and then they had to go for Aru. I think that's a good thing for them. But what do you guys think about Aru? This guy's an upcoming talent, and I actually saw a guy on PCM Daily say before he actually did something, "Oh God, why did I have to pick Aru?" But now he's really proving to be one of the best guys in the Giro d'Italia. What do you think, TheChudude?
Yeah, I think he's definitely one to look forward. He can be the next big thing. He has the, I think, attributes to be. We've seen this in the past. This is how great riders are made. I mean, we've seen heaps of riders, even like Quintana, perfect example from the Tour where Valverde lost time, and it works in his favor to make him like a big leader of the team. That definitely helps. Aru, he's definitely showed signs. He beat Quintana on one of those climbs, so he's definitely one of the can be one of the better climbers in the world. I think give him a couple of years as well. See, when people always say, Froome's going to dominate the next 5 years, the next 5 tours are going to be his, but I really disagree because there's always riders that we don't know that come out of the blue and surprise us. And get ready to see more of those. I'm sure they'll happen. I don't think we'll see a Froome domination. So
I sure hope not.
Yeah, certainly.
But
Yeah.
speaking about Aru domination, in today's time trial, this is recorded on the Friday, Fabio Aru put in one hell of a dig to almost beat Quintana today. So a young man, not even the captain, is really shown up to be strong. So it's another rising story. What did you think of today's time trial, Baseball Lover?
Well, Fabio Aru, I mean, he's just such a great young rider. I mean, I don't know. There's just something about him. He's got such an acceleration, but it's not like a Pareto acceleration, really. It's like a Contador acceleration, and it reminds me of, like, I don't know really how to say this, but it kind of, like, reminds me of, like, the doped days. where Aru, he's got this, like, sustainable acceleration, and it's just brilliant to watch him on the bike. Not Froome botting it, like, just looking at your power meter and going a certain pace sitting down on the saddle, but like rocking the bike, really getting everything out of it and just flying up the climbs. I mean, we saw that on stage 15,
Yep.
where he was just with them, and then he blew them away. You see guys like Quintana, guys like Uran, guys that can't stay with him. And I mean, I don't think he's really going to be the most consistent. I'm sure he's the kind of guy who's, as a young rider, will have some bad days, but he's in line for a great GC finish after not even coming in as the leader for Astana. And, you know, he's what, 22? He's got so many years ahead of him, and I don't know. I look forward to seeing, you know, battles on the climbs of Grand Tours for years to come with him involved.
He is 23, yes. So I
Yeah.
agree. Another note in today's time trial that's worth noting is there was a bit of a scandal on today's stage, and yes, it wouldn't be the Giro d'Italia without a scandal. Kennedy Hayes had 2 broken chains today without any neutral service help, so he had to fix it himself, and therefore he fell out of the time limit, and has been forced to abandon the Giro d'Italia because he got no help. Lotto Belisol can't afford, and they can't, by the rules, they can only bring 2 team cards, and they can't afford 8 team cards anyway to bring all to the riders. So he was relying on the neutral Mavic car. I'm not sure what it is for the Giro d'Italia. But because of 2 broken chains, he was outside of the time limit and had to abandon them. All over Twitter, we see keep Kenny in the Giro. That's a hashtag. Jürgen Rollins has been tweeting it. Adam Hansen has been tweeting it. Tosh van der Sande has been tweeting it. What do you guys think? Is this just poor management by the Giro? Do they need to make an exception and keep him in? Or do they just say, sorry, we can't do anything about it. We have terrible service here at the Giro d'Italia, sorry. Come back next year.
I think you gotta bring him back in because we've seen in the past where heaps of big riders been eliminated from the time cuts, like sprinters. Days like that, they sometimes do bring it in. Like they have the power to. For something like it's their own mistake, it's the Giro's mistake. I think that you can't take a rider's opportunity away because yourself, your own association group is not prepared for a mistake like that. And give the guy like a chance, really. That could have happened to anyone. Imagine that happening to a big rider and there was no neutral service there. That could have been a big thing. Like if Buhani crashed, I mean, that could have been a big story right
he's
now.
getting kicked out because they like him.
You remember the Tour de France that one year?
Ted King.
Well, that's another case, yes. Ted King did not get back in, but that was technically his own fault. There's nothing with the race to do. But that was wrongful proof. But the case that I was going to present to you was there was a gruppetto in the Tour de France one year on a mountain stage, a really fast-paced mountain stage. I believe it was called the Gully Bear stage, where Andy Schleck attacks from 60 kilometers out. But there was a gruppetto of 40 to 50 men, including Cavendish, Greipel, Kittel, these big sprinters, and they were all outside the time zone or the time limit, yet the ASO brought them back in. So it's with big names they get brought back in, but with guys like Ted King and Kenny Hayes, I don't believe they'll be made an exception. These guys are just not good enough for the race.
They need Cav to win on the Champs-Élysées in 2011 because it makes their race more exciting, and they'll do anything that benefits them. It doesn't matter what happens with the race, and that's why I brought up Ted King. I mean, it's a totally different situation, but he missed the time cut by 7 seconds because he crashed and he was hurt. He missed it by 7 seconds, and if Mark Cavendish missed it by 7 seconds, is he out of the race? No. If Mark Cavendish going up that climb, broke his chain, and then he would have help in 1 second. They'd force another team car to help him or something. They do anything that they have to do. But for him, no, they're not going to do it for Kenny DeHaze, and that's really, really not fair.
That's true. What do you think, TheChudude?
Yeah, I already talked about it. I mean, the Hayes is definitely not a big name. I mean, the Giro, a lot of the decisions they make are based on rider reputation, and I just think the Giro, it's got to be a level playing field when you're dealing with riders. You can't have, just because Contador's got a bigger name doesn't mean he should get the advantage over making a decision. So certainly, I think he should be brought back in, but I don't know will we see it. This will tell a lot from the Giro organisers, and I think this will tell a lot how really serious they are about making it a fair race.
You mentioned Ted King crashing. Another American who crashed in this last week was Taylor Phinney in the U.S. National Pro Challenge. He won the time trial and was looking to be the favorite to also win the road race, and he was trying to do the best to do his double. But sadly, he was in the attack with Lucas Oyser, a rider from United Healthcare, I believe, and he did crash. It was caused by a motorcyclist. It was one of the ones with the bike cam, and on the downhill, the motorcyclist was trying to create the best possible lane for Taylor Phinney so he can get the most amount of speed. But Taylor Phinney wasn't fast enough to react to this motorcycle changing lanes, so therefore Taylor Phinney had to do an awkward movement and went straight into the guardrail, I believe it was, and it broke a collarbone or two, and there went his chances. Do you think at these smaller races they need to up the security? Early in this year we already saw that in the Women's Tour of Britain, one of the main cars, or one of the official cars, drove into a barrier. So some of the officiating here, some of the safety here is lagging. What do you guys think?
Is this really a safety issue, or is it just a motorbike driver making a bad move?
Well, we saw Hoogerland. You can compare this to the Hoogerland case. Is autosport safe enough?
Well, cycling is never going to be the safest sport ever. We can say that, but it'll help if you can eliminate as much risk. I'm surprised when I see this more often, motorbikes crashing, because when you're going on descent, it's kind of very awkward. Sometimes riders can even go quicker than motorbikes on those really technical descents, and you might come across a bad motorbike driver one day, and these things can definitely happen. I would be surprised if it doesn't happen again. But it's just sad to see riders go down like this. I mean, it's one of those freak accidents that do happen, and I don't know if you can really do anything about it right now. What, are you going to find a motorbike rider? You can't. I don't think you can do that. But it's tough to talk about when you don't have that much race footage as well. So I think I haven't really seen it. I've just read stuff about it and heard about it. So really, what do I know?
You're American. How do you feel, Baseball Lover? Also, how did you feel about the Hoogerland scenario?
Well, the Hoogerland scenario is just stupid. All of these things are just stupid. In my opinion, it's a stupid move by the driver, because Taylor Phinney is a good bike handler usually, and he knows how to get out of the way. And it's not like a TT where every little gain matters. I mean, it's just... It's really depressing to me, because I was looking forward to finally seeing the American TT jersey in a Grand Tour at the Tour, and it was going to be really cool, and then he just broken leg. Okay.
So that's... Well, what do you think? Do you think our sport is safe enough? Do you think that these imbeciles will be able to drive with a pro peloton?
No. I mean, I think it's harder to drive in as a bike or a car near the pro peloton than it is to drive on the road, because if you're in a car on the road, you have to avoid big obstacles, and it's easier to avoid big obstacles than small obstacles because these small
things are
obstacles are
predictable on the road.
What?
Things are predictable on the road, whereas if you're driving in a bike race, anything can happen, really. Yeah.
So do you think they need some sort of special license? Because if you're a true follower of the backstage pass of a Rookie Green Edge, Matt White is so close to driving into everything. Like, how many times does he have to say fruit and grapes? Like, because the Cannondale car is almost hitting, the 82R car is almost hitting them. Oh my god, every car. I mean,
yeah, it's very chaotic. I mean, even when I'm surprised crashes don't happen more often when riders try to get back into the peloton and they weave between cars. I mean, if you're driving on the road normally and you don't realize the bike rider's just behind you or just beside you trying to overtake you or something, that really dangerous things can happen. I mean, if you gotta be really alert if you're a sports director in a car or you're a motorbike rider, anything like that. You gotta be on your toes, really, or else things like that could happen. Definitely.
So, we were speaking about motorbikes. Tweet of the week this week features motorcycles. It features motorcycles. Adam Hansen is the guy in Tweet of the week. He says, people keep asking me why Team Sky has won the last 2 Tour de France. Have you seen their bikes? ? And then he's got a picture with the Sky Motorsport, MotoGP picture, which we found, or at least I find kind of funny, because you know there's all this hate going around Team Sky because everyone thinks they're doped, and this is kind of Adam Hansen saying they're on a level that nobody can get to. So that's the reason Adam Hansen's featuring this meeting. Also, Adam Hansen is just a genuine guy who likes to do good things. So he's a nice guy, and he's did you guys see the tweet where somebody asked him, how many languages do you speak? And he's like, I speak 6. I speak Java, Python, C++, C++, and like he's a kind of a nerd. So it's
you guys should follow him on Twitter. He's very, very funny. He doesn't tweet that much, but when he tweets, it's hilarious. Like, one of the guys to follow, yeah.
I agree.
Who knows? Maybe that message, that tweet is sent, is a message in disguise. Maybe he does think Sky have motors on their bike. Who knows? We saw Cancellara being accused with motors on his bike.
EPO on their bikes? They inject the bike tires with EPO?
But in these dark days of EPO and doping, or at least in the older days with EPO, but now with blood fusion and tramadol and other substances who can be cheated with, it's good to see some people still having some sort of humor about this, all these rumors and stuff going on. So, kudos to Adam Hansen. So, we talked a lot about the Giro d'Italia, but the main thing this week is actually Cyanide and Focus working together to provide actual information about their upcoming game, Pro Cycling Manager 14. We saw exclusive gameplay, which was not so exclusive because I made a video, but it got taken down and it got settled. It's a big roller coaster. Thank you all for helping me. We saw an interview. which we're going to be discussing on PCM Daily, and we saw a dev blog update. So there's a lot to take from this week, and you can definitely feel that there's 1 month left. But let's talk about the interview first, and let's compare it with the YouTube video. First of all, guys, how much did you understand from the YouTube video that Mr. PCM Gaming produced?
Well,
I couldn't understand what he was saying. What I really needed was an English commentator to make a video like.
Oh, you can't do such thing, though. You can't do such thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Such things are not abiding the law. But what are you saying, TheChudude?
The footage we got was really good. It's actual gameplay footage, one that I have been waiting for. I mean, I've been talking about all these cinematic screenshots don't tell us much, and that we need some actual real footage, and we finally got that. There was a French commentator, didn't understand the word he was saying, but we got some footage. I guess we can talk about that. I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about with the new PCM, with all the new updates they've had. The interface looks nice, good pictures, good dark background pictures. I like that. But do you really think they've made much changes? Because
yes.
I actually don't mind it. I think they have done some work. This is better than I really expected. I've been talking the game down a bit now. I'm really surprised. They've actually done a pretty good job. I mean, we will actually need to go in and really give it a real play. But from right now, what I've seen right now.
So I know that they actually changed some things, because, okay, if you guys don't know who Oil4 is the project manager on PCM, which means that he leads every single divisions at Cyanide. So he leads the AI designers, the gameplay designers, the interface designers, the online designers. He is a leader of all of this. Also, he has been acting as the community manager, but he's now stepped back from that role. But I talked to him, and he said that he didn't get why people were complaining on the exclusive video that Mr. PCM Gaming has been produced, that people are saying, oh, the AI is the same. How can they judge it from one video? And from that comment, I concluded that they did do something about the AI, whether that be the sprint, a auto feature or something, but at least they did touch it. You might not be able to feel it, but they did touch it. So, if you are a troll and you're in this community, step back, let Oil4 get some breathing air, because he's been really, like, from what he told me, the trolls have really been getting to Cyanide lately, and the reason you don't see that many improvements is because they get nothing but bad feedback from the community. So, it's this is a hint to you guys, to if you really want a better game, then you better start faking your enjoyment if you just at least want to see anything new. I mean, a YouTuber doesn't get any better if all his comments are, go fuck yourself, you suck sir, oh my god, this video's copied from another guy. You don't get any better. Be nice to Cyanide, guys. That's my moral today. But, TheChudude says, let's get on with some of the interface. In the interview with Daily, they stated that they focused a bit on the interface, and they changed the color scheme, and they changed some of the icons in game. What do you guys think about the new color scheme? It used to be so white and orange, now it's so dark and like mysterious. What do you think, Baseball Lover?
I don't know. There's some things that look pretty cool.
Like what?
Oh,
we lost Baseball Lover. Baseball Lover's Wi-Fi is gone. Now you can take over.
They
never mind.
They really like in the career mode, the calendar thing on the bottom, they got rid of. I'm not really sure why, but like I said, I can't really make a judgment yet.
Okay. But, okay, TheChudude, how do you like this new interface? You spoke shortly about it before.
It's actually, I mean, black. It's a darker color, and I think black goes well with anything. I actually like it. I don't mind it. It's a bit different, but there's a lot of new features. I mean, we saw like all the new interface. Like they have like different options you can do, like customize what you want your team to have, like objectives, and even like you change your leaders during a race or something like that. That's pretty cool.
That's the
but
feature.
overall, overall in the what do you call it, the loading screens and the title screens, I think it looks very nice. I mean, I can't really say much more. Full credit to them, and I can't wait to get in to see them myself.
The thing
really,
that they really put emphasis in this year was equipment. In the previous games, equipment has not made a difference whatsoever in the game, and I think that this year they changed it, because in career mode, they went into depth. You can now get a sponsor contract, and you can, you can develop different things. You can develop aerodynamics, lightness, comfort on your bike, or on your bike, your feeling, how good your rider's going to feel in the day, and these sort of things. So they're going to make the game more customizable by changing the sponsors more and more every year. Last year we had the different sponsors, so you can get different names every year. Now it's different bike sponsors and equipment sponsors. What do you guys think about this? Do you like that the equipment might now have a factor on the game?
actually, what do you think, Baseball?
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, supposedly, from what they say, from what they've told us in the past, is that it's actually had an impact forever. So I don't really know if I even believe them yet, that it's actually going to have an impact. Maybe it's just a placebo again.
But if it does have an impact, if you, let's say it works like the chemistry system. If you have the right sort of equipment, you get +1 to 2 stats. Would you like that?
Yeah, I'll like that. In career mode, it would be great. Hey, what do you think?
I don't know if it. I'm kind of 50-50, because it's kind of a cool. If it works, it's a pretty cool addition. But on the other hand, in real life, you don't, except in like TTs, you don't really hear too much about, oh, the guy's bike was 1 gram less. It's 2+2 mountain. Like you wouldn't. It's not that big of a difference.
Okay, so I would compare it to dope, honestly. I would kind of compare it to dope. Because like
It's
you
like
pay,
training camps.
you pay a certain amount to become better. That's something that's not visible. What do you think, Chude? You were saying that you actually like the idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, equipment. I mean, they're trying to expand career mode, and equipment's going to be one of the things I think we're going to be looking forward to. Maybe Cyanide are secretly trying to implement dope into the game, but they can't like actually make dope, so they make little things like training camps, equipments to simulate the dope experience in cycling, where you have to pay for it and you get your benefits. But overall, I think the equipment we'll actually have to go in and really see how it works because it's very tough to look at it. It looks confusing from the outside as well, so we're gonna have to definitely go in and have a look, I think.
Exactly. Another thing they're trying to put some emphasis on is the contracts and transfers, which people have been complaining about for ages. Like, we've always seen Hugoland is going to Androni. What is this stupid game? But the funny thing is, Hugoland actually ended up going to Androni, which is kind of the funny thing. But the game has had their fair amount of unrealistic transfers, so they tried doing something about it. And this year's negotiations with your riders are gonna be increased. Like the difficulty is gonna be increased. Even though you match what they want, they're not always gonna go to your team if they're running out of the contract. What do you guys think about this? You like that they're trying to make it more difficult for you to keep your riders?
I don't know, but I think in real life it definitely is hard to make your riders happy. Obviously, if you're not going to pay them much money, and when they write stuff like this, I think it does help. I think it's to make it look like they do something, but I don't know. We'll really have to see. I mean, it could really be the case. In real life, it is sometimes difficult to keep your riders when they're not happy, and let's hope it's going to be like that in the game. I think it definitely could work. I think it looks like it's going to be a good feature. I don't know. It's hard to say from just reading about it, but I think it will be a big factor in the game. What do you think about it, though? I don't know.
I mean, anything with transfers, making them better is good for me, but I just have problems trusting Cyanide, you know?
Yeah, we'll follow you. They've been good at going back on their word in the past. But I feel like Oil4 has been telling me that they really they really did something about this year's game, and I trust him, and he's a nice guy, and I also think he's the guy who made this interview, or who was responsible for this interview. So this year's game is going to look promising. I said the same thing about last year's game, and I wasn't disappointed about this year's game. I feel like there's not that disappointed. It has a fair amount of bugs in online multiplayer and such, but I still feel like the new animations looks really cool. The fact that they have new sponsors is pretty good. I mean, they're moving in the right direction. It's gonna take them 20 years to get there, but at least they're trying. That's what counts. But the new mode, that's my favorite mode ever. I can already tell you that this mode is gonna rock my world. The automatic mode. You guys might be thinking, why do we need our riders to ride like the AI? The AI sucks. But as a YouTuber, as a guy who enjoys more watching the actual game than actually playing the game, this new automatic mode, which is basically detail simming, but you're watching the riders in-game and you can change the things in-game. I have been asking for this for so long. Detail simming, but what you're watching in the race. This is the Football Manager experience. Am I the only one who's really, really hyped for this? Or am I just, nah, are you guys just whatever?
It's pretty cool, but it's like, it's not a game changer for me, you know, not as a big YouTuber, you know.
They just made this mode to make failure happy, I think, because I don't think anyone else is going to be using this too much. Or the feature, I came into 3D mode to play the game, bitch, so I'm not into just sitting there and watching, but some people like it like you.
The amount of stages you simulate in a career is insane, correct?
Yeah.
How you can simulate the stage and still watch it. The reason I play Football Manager is because I technically simulate every single game in Football Manager, but I can watch it in 3D. It's like watching an actual football game in fast pace. You just give them order, go X8, and then see what happens. It's like skipping to the finale in an online TV show. Like it's cool. It's what I do. Like, expect next year.
I don't do that.
Oh, but whatever. Expect next year.
Then.
What?
Oh. Well, you'll have a good time watching my career mode if you like spectating.
But you also have an insane career team, which is not fun to watch when you have Port,
Yeah.
Weenie.
Yeah, I might fix that up.
Yeah, you should probably fix that. But the fact that that is just cool to be able to watch this and detail simming. This is just gonna. Oh well, I said expect next year to see Team Lacoste being back. But now I can work as a general manager, and I don't need to play because that was the big issue that I need to play every single stage.
The big problem is Viviani.
But now we can see the AI control Viviani. It's gonna be a great time, and I love this new automatic feature. The next auto feature is not that important. It's already in the game. I think it's kind of pointless. What do you guys think? The next auto, do we really need to explain
Yeah.
this?
Pointless.
Yeah.
Pointless.
And pointless, no.
But the one that we do need to explain is miscellaneous. Now,
Yeah.
daily form is gonna matter a hell of a lot. He mentioned as one of his past experience, he has seen Sam Bennett of Team NetApp Endura beat Marcel Kittel on
With
the
taking
Shakespeare
Kava's
set.
lead out. With taking Kava's lead out.
I mean, that...
That sounds horrible.
I don't know, why would you even mention that in an interview? I'm sorry to say, but that is like... So, you know, right, I saw Tom Wheelers win this mountain stage against Froome last night. With Wiggins as a lead-up man, but the daily form was crazy. He had like +5. I mean, this is the worst marketing I've ever seen, but... at least I can't wait to see MLC. It'll be the most unpredictable thing ever. 9th round pick in the Maglia Rosa. Let's go. So what do you guys think about this? And he also mentioned Rick Flens like being the third best guy with 66 cobble or 67 cobble.
I reckon this is going to be interesting, to say the least. We might see a lot more Froome killers now. Might see if someone has a good daily form the whole Giro, they might win the Giro and have it like a 75 mountain. Who knows? I mean, this is what they've stated is very out of the blue, I think. So expect to see some extraordinary stuff. What happens if Froome has +5? Is he going to take like an hour on everyone?
Are you kidding me? That'd be dumb. Chris Froome with +5 would just... he would win a cobblestone stage. What do you think, Baseball Over?
To me, it's just like they did it. They're trying to do something, but they're doing it completely wrong. You brought up the point like you could see guys, winning GTs, and with the way PCM works, that's very possible. You see a guy. The way it works is it doesn't matter what your mountain stat is because you're automatically like get a bump if you're doing well in the GC early on because then you just become part of the selection. It's just the way it works. Now, in the case of Rick Flens, that could be cool because it's like, the guy's decent at cobbles but nowhere near it, but he gets, he has a nice day and he can do some good domestique work like maybe more than usual. And what they're trying to do is get on mountain stages. A guy, Dan Martin and Jakob Fuglsang attacking on mountain stages, not having Froome attack, Sometimes that's what happens, and they can win. But I think I mentioned this in an earlier rant when they mentioned this in like one of their first interviews that they were going to try to make outsiders win more. They're doing it all wrong. Instead of changing the daily form so that those guys can just duel it out with Chris Froome, they should change it so that the attacking and the mountain AI works better and all the favorites just don't randomly attack at the bottom of the climb and then dot 99 and blow everyone else off their wheels because that's not what happened. It should be that you have guys that attack and those outsiders will attack earlier and could survive, but they don't want to work on that mountain AI. Instead they're trying to find cheats in my opinion, and I don't really like that at all.
So what they should do was just like have a one of the best mountain players in the game, and then record how he does it, and then try to get the AI to emulate that.
Yeah, BBL's got this covered. I really like his solution, really. But PCM are going with the more. Expect to see more Floyd Landis victories, I think.
Oh God!
He's going to break and take. They're secretly implementing doping in it. Just
oh my
be careful,
God!
guys.
This is all a part of their plan. Now outcomers with great equipment and +5 in the day can win. No!
Hey guys, I just found Oscar Pereiro in the database. It's a secret.
Stupid. But on another note, though, we talked about people being on the form of their life. You can also now have the worst day of your life. You can now get seriously injured or seriously sick. You can still ride, but the form of the day will be -5. So, if players can have, let's say, like, Uran with -5, will go from, like, he's probably going to have 81 Mountain after his Giro d'Italia showing. With that, if he has -5, would that then mean he's going to have, like, 76 or 75 and just lose a shit ton of time? Like, what do you think about that? Do you think about, like, do you like that people can have a really good day and have a really, really bad day?
I mean, having a really bad day does happen. It happens a lot. I mean, but it generally happens when the guy gets sick. And if you're going to give him that -5, make sure it is when they're sick. Don't just give it, like, randomly, I think. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking as well. Like, they should give you an email. Roberto Uran ate a steak. He's having +5 on the day.
Yeah.
Like, they should give you some sort of email.
They should give you like an illness email, like you would get if they were sick and out of the race.
They should give you some sort of reason, some sort of reasoning why. Like, this is his birthday. He's gonna feel really good today, or this is his home city. He wants to really do well. Something like this. Don't just make it random. I mean, I know it's random fitness, but form of the day in real life is never random. Like, people time their schedule.
Yeah. Also, I think, yeah, on those days where you just feel like you're climbing like the best, maybe instead of like a +5, give them a +5 like once during a Grand Tour or something like that. Like, maybe give a sprinter a +5 once during a Grand Tour where they feel like a climber or something, but not like every single stage or the odd stage, because it's human nature for someone to feel good for one day and then not be as good another day. So I think we've seen that in the Giro this year. One day, what's his name, Pozzovivo looked like he was good with Quintana. Now he's just slowly falling away. I mean, that's what happens really. But the majority of the times you keep it like +1 or 0 or -1. I think. Yeah.
But what if you go on a winning streak? So that also count. Like, you know how if you win a stage, you get happy, you feel better. The next day you're more confident. Should you have like better day of the form or form of the day? Day of the form.
That'd be something. Cavendish, if he loses a stage, his morale will go down by a lot.
If Cavendish doesn't win a stage in real life, he performs worse. If he wins a stage, he performs better. That is how Cavendish works in real life. And I feel that could actually be implemented into the game, or at least into stage races, or into moral of some sort. Like, moral already has some sort of impact, but it should probably have a bigger impact.
Yeah.
And if Cavendish loses a stage, the next stage all his teammates' stats go down because he's been yelling at them the whole time.
Team boss has disappeared. You don't see it on the podium. On to another feature that helps me. Like, not only the auto feature is towards me, but also the podium has been changed. You now have multiple camera angles. You might be thinking, this is pointless. I just skip the podiums. But me, as a YouTuber, once again, I need some presentation value. I need to be able to show you guys that this is like an official broadcast. It's like watching a real life race. And for me to be able to do that, I need some help from Cyanide, because we don't have a free camera, so I can't make my own screenshots. I can't make my own camera angles. I could do that if I had a free camera, but they limit me. So them helping us by doing this, I like it. What do you guys think about this? Is it an unnecessary change? Do you feel like it's moving in the right direction towards presentation, or do you want them to stick to gameplay?
I mean, it definitely looks good, but yeah, again, it's not a big change, but it does put the game in the upwards trajectory, I think. I mean, these little things where they slowly build over time to make the game better, ultimately makes a good game. So I really like the podium, even though it won't really affect people that much, but it's a nice touch, I think. Yeah.
Okay, what do you think, Baseballlover?
I mean, I like it. I have two things on it. First off, I'm kind of disappointed because when I first saw it, I was like, well, that's so cool. But then I realized that it even though it's different, like, it's going to be the same from now on. Like, the same exact it's the same exact camera angles and stuff. But on the other hand, I've always dreamed of a TV-style cycling game. Now, I never really think that's going to be PCM. But I like that they're going into, a little more presentation. And I think it looks better than the regular ones that we have now. So, yeah, step in the right direction for sure.
Mm-hmm. last but not least, from this interview, they tell us that from now on, multiplayer mode will allow you to host without opening ports. This, Hansball and I both fear, might mean that we're going to have dedicated servers next year. And if you don't know what that means is, let's look up Call of Duty Black Ops. You probably know what that is. You have dedicated servers, you join a pre-made server owned by a clan, owned by some sort of kid sitting in Japan, sitting in Brazil, with a shitty connection, a shitty ping. You're going to be lagging. It's going to be the same experience in PCM, just worse. This community can't handle dedicated servers. We need designated hosts. Have you guys have any experience with dedicated servers before?
Well, don't most games have it, like League of Legends and all that? Isn't that all dedicated servers?
No.
Or...
League of Legends is host-based.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't really experienced
technically it's dedicated server, but dedicated servers in League of Legends are handled by Riot, the guys that makes the game. But in Call of Duty Black Ops, dedicated servers are hosted by like third-party hosted services. You can buy a server to play on Black Ops and you can get admin rights and so on. That is how I fear Cyanide will handle this. Because if they get third-party companies to sell servers for this game, then we're all doomed.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Can't handle such a thing.
We're way too... We're not Call of Duty.
And how would they even handle that? Like, how would you set up a stage on a pre-made server? Would you have to shut it down, change the map like in Counter-Strike Source? Counter-Strike Source is another example of using dedicated servers.
Yeah, it's dedicated servers might not be the way to go. I mean, but when they said, "Oh, you don't have to open your ports anymore," my eyes lit up and I was like, "Whoa!" I was so excited. Now when you talk about this, and it's slowly drawing me away, but I'm going to stay optimistic and hope that it's going to be good and we don't have to open ports.
Exactly. One last note before we end this off. When my video was up, my 2014 PCM exclusive gameplay and English commentary, I noticed that the green, yellow, and red bar, they decrease rapidly compared to previous years. What is your opinion on this? And do you think I'm just crazy, or did you notice it as well? Like, just from you sitting in the front with a wind of 20, the yellow bar was going down fast.
Yeah. I think, I definitely noticed that. That's one thing that caught my eye pretty much straight away. And I think it's going to be good. I really think, because it's going to simulate more of a realistic race. I mean, really sitting in the front, if you're in the wind or you're close to the front, you might burn more energy, but you stay away from crashes. So I think it's going to change the tactics of a lot of people, because a lot of people normally when they play PCM, they sit at the front, maintain position for pretty much the whole stage until the end. This might make people want to not sit at the front and sit in the middle and then come to the front when the race gets decisive. I think that definitely is going to be a key feature, I think.
What do you believe? What do you think of this feature? Baseball over.
You know, it depends on how it's used, of course. I mean, maybe it's stopping people from dotting 85, but, I mean, if attacking brings you down just as much, then I don't really see it being too much of an impact, besides maybe people have to go down a difficulty level after a while. But, I mean, I think it's pretty cool that you can't just dot 85 and make your way. I mean, I guess we've all kind of gotten used to that, but that's not really how it's supposed to work. We've always wanted attacking on mountains to work.
Exactly.
And we haven't really seen attacking on mountains work, you know, in the footage that we've seen so far. But judging based on that, we can hope that if everything does go right and you get the +5, then you can maybe attack on some mountains, and it might actually give you some time.
On that note, people, thank you guys for watching this week's weekly rant. It's been a very complicated one. We talked about the shitty Italia. We talked about the new PCM features. I think it's the best one to date. So if you think that as well, please leave a like. Please comment what you thought about it. Please favorite it. Please share it with your friends. We do our best to provide you a weekly podcast with intellectual comments, and I think we do a pretty good job. Please go watch TheChudude's channel. Please go watch Baseball Lovers channels. They of course they produce just as much quality content as I do, and they're growing with me and they're growing with you. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later.